This is the September 27th, 2012 meeting of the East Fishkill Town Board. Would you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. The first item is I have no announcements, but we do have a presentation from the Sons of Italy. Is anybody here from the Sons of Italy to see us tonight? Yes.
I'm John DiFilippo, president of the Joe DiMaggio Lodge, and on behalf of my lodge, we would like to donate $2,000 to the town of East Fishkill for the outstanding work
Really?
they do for the citizens in this community.
Well, we appreciate that. We have a very good relationship with the Sons of Italy. We certainly appreciate working along with you. Oh, that is terrific.
Right.
We appreciate that. And Sons of Italy, I think a donation is certainly appreciated by this board. And John, thank you very much.
Right, thank
We
you for
appreciate
having
that.
us here.
Do you have any designation for that? Usually,
Whatever you
Yeah,
decide
really?
determine, I trust your judgment.
Wow. Oh, that is terrific.
Right.
Well, thank you very much. And if you want to hand a check to the clerk, she'll take the
Right.
check.
thank you.
Thank you.
John, thank you very much. We appreciate that. Very good. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll?
Councilperson Walker.
Present.
Councilperson Cassidy.
Present.
Councilperson Danke.
Present.
Councilperson Delisandro.
Present.
Supervisor Hickman.
Present. Thank you. We have the next item of the agenda is to approve the minutes for August 23rd, 2012. Clerk Hooray, have you received any comments or modifications to the minutes as submitted?
No, I have not.
Are there any amendments or changes? That being said, do I have a motion to approve the minutes for the August 23rd, 2012
So
meeting?
moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is public comments on agenda items only. Is there anybody in the audience who would like to speak on anything on the agenda? Okay, there being none?
Hello, John.
Yes, George?
Are you talking about public hearing yet? Is that one of the items?
Which is that, George?
1A?
Public hearing
Yeah.
on the property maintenance enforcement law?
Is that later? or-
You could speak now, or if you'd like to have it made as part of the record, part of the public hearing, probably be more appropriate.
Okay, fine.
Right. Okay. Receipt and file. We have two items of receipt and file tonight. The first is a report, well, actually, it's a proposed local law on the noise ordinance, and I would like to just ask Councilman Danke, who has been kind enough to head up the noise committee, how things are going. I mean, you have a pretty good committee there, Bill, and I know you guys have been working for quite a few months on this.
Yeah, we've been working since March, and Councilman Cassidy's sat in on some meetings, and as well as our town attorney and our police chief and 5 citizens of the town. And we've drafted a draft noise ordinance that the town board has had for now a few weeks to peruse. And we welcome any comments from the town board, and I guess we'll have it on the workshop meeting in
Yep. Yeah.
October, a discussion by the town board.
Now, can we put the proposed noise ordinance out there on the web?
It's already on.
And just one thing I'd have to mention
It's
about our
already
website, we're having huge website problems right now. I don't know if anybody's gone to our website. Yes, I went to the website, and it was like, I don't know, 50 columns of PDF file on the top. So we're trying to get our website squared away. We're working with the vendors, and it's been a little bit difficult lately. But we could post a proposed noise ordinance.
already on.
Oh, it is on it is on it? Okay, good. So anybody would like to review the proposed noise ordinance, it is on the website now. So we'll take a look at that. And I'd just like to thank you.
We'll probably have the public hearing for that in February.
I would think,
Or so,
because you
because
know
we're
the
in the
way it
budget
is.
season.
Yeah, we're getting right into the middle of budget season. So once we get through the budget season, then we're in the holiday season. So probably, and then we have the reorganization meeting in January. So logistically, it would probably be about the February meeting. But and I have to thank you, Bill, because every comment, letters, and emails I forwarded to Councilman Danke, and he has contacted those people, and either they've come in or they've offered them their concerns about the bill, and I think you guys have put together a pretty good law based on the input from the public. So I'd like to thank you and Councilman Cassidy for your work on that. So we'll figure, I would say probably February, just from the time, because it is now almost October, so we'll look to do that, have the public hearing in February. Okay, and we also received, I don't know, I guess you'd call it a little introduction again. We have these Echo Cottages. These are a senior, I would say, for people that need help. I don't think it's just limited to seniors, is it, Tom?
No, it has to be a related family member.
Related family member?
Sick or infirm.
Sick or infirm or something like that. So you can actually rent these cottages. The proposal is to rent these cottages, put them on your property, and then move your family member who needs help so they're not too far away, but they'd be living on the property but not actually in the house. There is one on Route 82 that is a display model, and they've actually, I believe, brought this to the town of Wappinger, and I know they've approached Dutchess County about it. But they have actually sent us a Town of East Fishkill accessory use law that they'd like for us to consider, and we just got this recently. So what I would ask is for the board members to consider this local law, which would be a change to our zoning, and obviously the attorney will review it and see if there's any issues with or conflicts with our current zoning, so.
I was under the impression it was for elderly, because it's elderly cottage housing opportunities is
The
what
reason
Echo's
Tom's
saying.
saying it's not elderly, it does say over 60.
Right.
That's why he's saying.
Okay.
That's
Thank-
why he's
thank you,
saying it's
Peter.
not seniors. It
It's being nice.
says over
The
60.
seniors would be 65.
Okay.
But it's for if you have a disabled member in the family that is, 60 years or over. So, certainly, this is a model law that they had put together to give to us to review. So I just wanted to mention that we received it, and we'll be taking a look at that. All right, and that's the two receipt and files for tonight. Next item on the agenda is the public hearing. Public hearing to consider the property maintenance enforcement law. We've discussed this in the past. Obviously, a lot of people see now you drive around town. Unfortunately, with the mortgage crisis, there's been a lot of foreclosures. People walk away from the houses for whatever the situation is, and the houses are unkempt, and it's a terrible situation. We've discussed this previously in the past, but we've been actually with this new law. I think that we have a very good answer to address this. I see the city of Poughkeepsie adopted the same sort of an ordinance probably 3 months ago in the town of Wappinger, I believe just last month. So with that, I would like a motion to open the public hearing to consider the property maintenance enforcement law. Do I have a motion?
So,
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carried. The public hearing is now open. And one thing I would like to state about this law is really an enforcement law, because New York State Property Code, Property Maintenance Code, already has standards set for property maintenance. So we're not setting standards in this code. We are just looking for a way to enforce the New York State standards on banks that own properties, delinquent owners that have gone other ways, and it would be actually, Tom, if you'd just like to explain it a little bit, I believe the work, in the end, it would be put on the tax bill.
Correct. Well, basically, as you said, we're not adopting any new standards here. The standards for property maintenance have already been established by New York State, the New York State Property Maintenance Code. And what that code requires is that when a property is deemed to be in violation, the owner of the property has to be given an order to remedy and given a reasonable period of time to remedy. Their failing to obey that would then allow us to issue a ticket to bring the owner into the town justice court to enforce it criminally. The problem that we have is that if the owner is not at the site or is not a resident of the town or the immediate area, they cannot be summoned to appear in our justice court on a criminal manner. With this happening all over the state legislature last year amended the real property law, which said that if a bank is foreclosing a vacant property and it is in violation of the property maintenance code, and if after notice from the local town, the property is not cleaned up, then the town can go in, clean up the property, mow it, road, anything for road control, whatever's in the state code, and bill it back in the taxes. However, when we notify the bank, if there is an occupant
there, the bank is not responsible for, or cannot be made responsible through the current state law. So to fill, and then there's also the situation where a property owner is not a resident of the town, has the property rented, hasn't maintained it properly, and they're maybe out of state and we can't reach them. So this local law, if adopted, would fill in those two gaps. It would allow the town to lien the property that's in foreclosure, that's occupied when a bank is foreclosing, and then the bank will pay it in the tax bill. And the second thing is it will allow us to get an unresponsive, non-resident property owner to either comply or to have the lawn mowed or the cleanup done and pay for it in their tax bill. So this is to kind of bridge the gap, but
Yep.
the standards are already set in the state code.
Okay, and I hate to say it, but I'm sure every one of us here knows at least one or two houses that are in this situation. And it's epidemic because of the housing crisis, but this seems to be a proper way where the town as a whole doesn't pay for it, it's actually levied on the property taxes of the property, so. I did want to ask, we have a gentleman, we put out contracts for, say, mowing. And we give him, he has the cemeteries, he has parking rights and such. Would we just say to him, this would be an additional thing, or would we ask him for an additional
Right,
quote?
we will modify our proposals and have a per hour type measurement that we would then be able to use these contractors, but it would all be publicly solicited as far as the
Okay,
bids and the standard price.
So should we put out, I guess then my question would be, we'll put out an RFP
Correct.
for this sort of a thing. We'll put something together the next couple of weeks, get it out to local vendors and award it, and then probably, again, we are until October, but I would think that pretty quick we should be able to have this thing up and running.
Tom, that also for commercial properties as well?
Yes, any property, whatever the rules are in the New York State Property Maintenance Code, if they're applicable to commercial properties, then this implements them also.
Anybody in the audience like to speak for or against the property maintenance enforcement code law here that we're proposing? Yes, sir, you have to come up to the microphone now.
Good evening. My name is George Jennings. I live at Marion Avenue, and we have some of those derelict places over our area. And honestly, they're a hangout for kids. The possibility of being stripped of their hardware and so forth. It's a hangout for, for all sorts of possibilities at night. So we just want to be very careful of the properties we have around us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
Transients coming through, seeing a house with a lawn 3 foot high, say that's a good place to rest, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Or nest, as the case may
Well,
be.
you see with the old IBM West Complex, I mean, the grass is this high, and we could actually do this with the West Complex. I don't know, we'll put it on the tax bill, and maybe Lanao will pay the tax bill, but we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, it's a sign that says we're open, nobody's here, and they had gangs in there stripping copper pipes out of the buildings. It's a terrible situation.
I'm very happy to see the town putting something like this together. I know anecdotally, several areas in New York State, they've had a law like this. The first fine, it was $100. The second fine was $500, and the third fine was $10,000, which
Wow.
catches the attention of the banks
Yep.
very quickly.
Well, George, that's a good question. Tom, would we want to have, this is just resolves the issue.
We already have the criminal sanctions available in the
the-
executive law of the maintenance, New York
Oh,
State.
that's right, in the property maintenance law of New York State, they already have fines. So we would cite them for property maintenance violations.
But the problem with that, as I said, is to get them
Yeah.
into the justice court to make them subject to those
Okay,
fines. This
okay.
allows us to work with
Anyway, we'll go ahead and
absentee
resolve the issue, and then hopefully.
Anyway, I'm in favor of your law.
Great, thank you very much,
Okay.
George, appreciate that. And I would say that every now and then I get a call from somebody in the neighborhood says, I have an abandoned, or there's a house next to me that's neglected and nobody's here. Oh, I'm worried, and I typically call our police department just to let them know this is a concern in the neighborhood, and they're very good about policing and stuff like that, because certainly we don't want hangouts to develop overnight like that. So, good, thank you. Anybody else in the audience like to speak for or against the property maintenance enforcement law? Anybody on the board? Comments, thoughts, questions?
No, I just think it's a great idea and we need to move forward.
Okay. With that, do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. The public hearing is now closed. Do I have a motion to adopt the negative declaration on the property maintenance enforcement law?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Finally, do I have a motion to enact the property maintenance enforcement law that is before us?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Law is now enacted. Well, not really. The law is adopted. Now, Carol, we have to send this up to the state.
Yes, I
When does it become a law?
did. January 1st, this is Champagne.
Oh, so it'll take effect January 1st, so you send up this to the state, and they will file it, and then on January 1st it'll become a law. So at that point, but previous to that, we can start putting together the RFP.
Correct, that's-
Get the contractors on board, and get moving with this thing, so. Great, thank you very much. All right, resolutions. The first resolution is to appoint a dispatcher to the police department. I know there's a vacancy in the position of an assistant in the police department in the dispatch area, and they have done, I believe, Bill, and you're privy to this, they've done interviews with several potential people to come in.
Yes.
And this person, actually, Jessica Muniz, had been working for us. She is actually working for us now, helping us out.
Yes, she's past her break-in period. She's actually a very competent dispatcher at this point.
Okay.
So there's no training needed for Jessica.
Okay, and we do have a letter from the chief of police requesting that Jessica Muniz be appointed to fill this vacant position of police assistant. Is there any discussion? Any questions? Do I have a motion to appoint Jessica Muniz to the position of police assistant in the police department? Her salary shall be $15.18 per hour.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. And we'll contact the police to let Jessica know tomorrow morning. Number 2 is to set a public hearing for the Four Corners Lighting District. We've received a request from the owners of the Four Corners project, Toll Brothers. They've asked that I think, Scott, did they send us a list of the people that, did they have like, oh, here it is. 10 copies of map plan report. Toll Brothers respectfully request formation of the district be placed on the town board agenda. So I think that we're looking to have to hold a public hearing on that. Peter, you suggested December 13th, and everything's in order with the map plan report, Scott?
Yes, it's been reviewed, some adjustments have been made, and we're satisfied with it.
Okay, very good, very good. Do I have a motion to set the public hearing for the Four Corners Lighting District for December 13th, 2012?
So moved.
I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Third on the agenda is a resolution requesting Dutchess County to establish the position of a junior engineer. I've been really, as Scott knows, I've been having some times with our contract engineers, very unhappy with some of the things that has been going on in the past 7 years I've been in office. I think it would be a good idea, and as I told everybody and I emailed everybody, I really think it'd be good to bring a junior engineer position in-house to help us with review of plans, review of zoning, development of neg decks. There's a lot of stuff that we could be doing in-house that right now we are having a contract engineering firm do, and they charge us quite well to do that. So I would like to ask Dutchess County personnel to establish this position. We have sent them up a job description, and if they could, I think it'd be worthwhile. Also on the agenda tonight, I would point out that we are establishing a rate schedule for professionals, whereas if you have somebody come in with an application, we now, as of a couple months ago, we actually have the ability to charge off our professionals to the applicant from an escrow account. So this will offset quite a bit of having another engineer, junior engineer on staff. So I think it would be a very worthwhile endeavor. I think it's worked out well for us in the past. So with that, do I have a motion to request Dutchess County to establish the position of junior engineer in the town of East Fishkill?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I'm not opposed to asking them, but we would have to have a discussion after, you know, the position is established and how exactly it would work.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And on that note, too, I'd also like to reach out to the local people in the town of East Fishkill. I just posted on Channel 22, put it on the website, and I don't know if we run an ad in the paper. Just let people know that the town of East Fishkill is interested, if we establish a position tonight, to, that we'd like to have somebody in the town fill this position. And maybe if I get a couple members of the board who'd like to sit down, possibly review any resumes and do interviews, I'd appreciate it, so. Would you
I'd
be
be-
okay?
Sure, absolutely.
Bill? Okay, so we have two town board members available to do that. And absolutely, I think I'll sit down with our engineer, Scott Bryant. We'll sit down and talk about, we'll draft something, you know, the duties of this position, if it is approved, and where we see that they will be fitting into the organization and the costs they will incur. I think most of it is going to be paid for by itself. And the other thing I would point out is to applicants that come before our boards, we have a responsibility to make sure that what they pay is fair. And I think that by having this in-house, I think this will go a long way towards making it a much more fair procedure. And I also think, as we have found out by recent firsthand knowledge, we do get a better product in the end, so.
With a significant savings in taxpayer money.
Well,
with-
contract
with-
engineer is not cheap.
Right, with the work that Scott has done the past 6 years.
Oh, yeah,
I don't want to say anything, but yeah, it's been a perfect example of how things can work. All right, with that, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
absolutely.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. What I will do is I'll work with Scott, and we'll see if Dutchess County does give us it does establish this position for us, and we'll put together something that will get out to the public, and we can get this moving. Good, thank you very much. Number 4 is to establish a rate schedule for, ironically, to establish a rate schedule for professionals. Whereas the town board previously enacted local law providing for the establishment of escrow accounts whenever an application made to any of the town boards or agencies. Said local law requires town board to fix these fees, and on occasion to be changed is the desire of the board to do so. Tom, you've reviewed the escrow funding schedule, have you?
Right, what this does is, first of all, the schedule for funding the escrow accounts is the same that has been utilized. This just formally puts it in place. But what this resolution does is twofold. Number one, it allows the town to, if you have a contract engineer, to bill it against the escrow accounts for review of applications. And the second part of this, if you recall, last month you amended the local law on fees and escrow accounts. And the newest trend in New York State is to also allow towns, any on-staff personnel who are required to review an application for a pending project, that those hours spent in that would be chargeable to the escrow account. So this resolution authorizes the town controller to set those amounts based on the hourly rate, the fringe benefits, and a administrative fee. So that would do exactly what you indicated before, would allow an employee's time to be charged to the escrow account when the time's being utilized in reviewing an application pending before one of our boards.
Very good. And so, in these fees that we're enacting here also, I know that we had spoken about this too, and I imagine we'll do it further in another meeting, reviewing our zoning, building permit, and all those fees. So we'll do that probably in the reorganization meeting in January, I think, so.
So you said that these escrows were already in place?
Yes, and don't forget it's an escrow, so if you have to deposit it, but if it's not used, it's refunded to you once your project is either approved or disapproved.
So when was the last time we reviewed the escrow amounts?
Well, what happened is that in the old law, there were amounts set forth in the old law. The new law allows you to do it by resolution, and this resolution incorporates what is currently has been deemed to be the correct amounts to be deposited. What happens is if you have to deposit $2,000, When it reaches 1,000, you're sent a bill to replenish the account.
What I mean is, when was the last time we reviewed that those amounts were appropriate?
These were
Oh,
set by law.
it's been
yeah.
ongoing, so these
Okay.
are the up-to-date ones, yes.
But it was set by law, and now we can set it by
Yeah, but the ones that
resolution.
were set by law were lower than these, and these are more in line. So this should prevent repeated
Constant.
requests for replenishment,
Okay.
should be enough.
But we always had that ability anyway.
But if
to
there's money left, it's refunded to the
the
applicant.
applicant.
And I'm sure the engineer would send us a memo. if
Yeah.
we-
Yeah.
One of these famous memos? I just, so, just looking at it, if I'm building if I'm subdividing my piece of property, I'm putting a second house on it.
Right,
So I'm gonna bring in $1,000,
right.
and then I've gotta bring in how much to subdivide off an acre lot? Is that only when, that's not a real site plan, it'd just be a building permit?
No, if you're gonna
Be a
subdivide your
subdivision.
property, that's a formal subdivision. So it has to go to the planning board, you have to have it reviewed, you have to have a public hearing, you have to get approval of the planning board, then you have to get to the Dutchess County Health Department, have it approved, and then that map comes back, is signed by the town and recorded with the Dutchess County clerk. That's what's required to do a subdivision, whether it's one lot or 50 lots. The fee on reviewing, there's two fees. You will pay an application fee,
Which is non-refundable.
which is not discussed tonight, that's non-refundable, and you would deposit the escrow money in the account. Now, a lot of times, the subdivision of two lots is so simple that it's, like an hour of review time, that's all your account would be charged for. And then you get your approval, then once the map is signed and filed, you get a check back from us for the balance of the escrow.
Now, is that up to 1,000, that's square feet on the total site plan? Is that what that's? is
That's,
that-
as for site plans, that's square footage of the building.
Oh, building, okay. I was gonna say, geez,
Right, yeah.
So with having our in-house engineer and possibly more,
Well,
these
right now-
dollars would be stretched.
Well, no,
For the applicant.
the outside consultant's hourly rate is far in excess of what an employee's salary, benefits, and administrative fee would be.
So the $1,000 they would pay would go a lot further with our guys.
Correct, so it actually, it's a win for the applicant because it's cheaper. And as far as the town is concerned, you're getting in-house service that will lend itself to perhaps better reviews and better control.
Very good.
Okay. Do I have a motion to authorize, do I have a motion to establish the rate schedule for professionals?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Next on the agenda, number 5, authorize county agreement for the payment of election costs. Boy, oh boy, about 3 months ago, I saw on the news today, they were interviewing Supervisor Lacola in Fishkill. About 3 months ago, all towns and cities in Dutchess County got that letter from the county executive saying he'd like to meet with all supervisors and mayors to discuss the state of the county finances. So we all trudged up to Marist College, and he gave us the bad news. Dutchess County is $40 million in the red, and they need to do something about it. Now, Dutchess County collects sales taxes. They collect sales tax whenever you buy something. Everybody knows there's a sales tax attached, and part of that goes up to Dutchess County. Dutchess County, I believe, had contracts with the city of Beacon City and Poughkeepsie. They didn't have contracts with the supervisors of the towns. So what would happen was the county collects approximately $120 to $130 million a year in sales taxes. They would distribute that in a formula that they've used for probably 30 years. Unfortunately, with their situation, the county executive, and I really don't blame him because he did inherit quite a mess, has decided he will cap sales tax distribution to the cities and towns. Though it wasn't good news, and he did try to do a few things to offset this. What this means to the town of East Fishkill, unfortunately, is we're capped at $1.34 million. Last year, we collected $1.6 million. So suddenly, we're feeling the county's paying to the tune of about $250,000. That being what it is, we don't have a contract with the county. The county's just always done this, they've always done the distribution, and I do believe even the contracts that the two cities had with Dutchess County have expired. So, that is just what it is. There is no recourse, that is, and again, I don't blame the county executive, but we get a little tired of feeling their pain. So they did offer, one of the things that they offered, and I would say this about the town of East Fishkill, I mean, we are solid, we do have about a $4 million surplus. So $250,000 doesn't make my day any better, or the taxpayers' day, but you know what? We'll go on. I feel a little bit more, a little worse for Supervisor Lacola in Fishkill, because he's in a hole over there, and now he's even deeper in a hole, but it is what it is, so we're gonna deal with it. One of the things the county executive did offer, he offered a few things. They're gonna keep dial-a-ride rates the same, they're not gonna raise them next year, and they're gonna be doing some medical insurance program with the county, we can opt in, and they're looking at sharing all kinds of services, which is fine and dandy. But the one thing that they do offer us, which is actually amounts to some dollars, that they will actually take over the election costs. I believe they'll take over 50% of them this year, and they'll take over the rest of them going forward. So that's what we have before us. The county, Dutchess County is offering your municipality an opportunity to reduce the cost of Board of Election charges going forward. For election years 2012, they'll eliminate 50%, and then they will take over the full amount after that. So they feel that we have to make a payment this year and choose to satisfy the amount equal to payments. So we would be paying them basically $62,000, and then we will not have any election costs again. This is what we get. So we have the money in the bank to pay the $62,000 for the election costs this year, and then Dutchess County will pick up those costs going forward. That's something, but we still lost $250,000. So, not happy, but it is what it is. So,
Excuse me,
yes,
how much money did you say the county was in red?
oh, about $40 million, I believe.
40 million?
30 to 40, somewhere in there, yeah. Yeah, they have a problem.
Yeah, budget gap of nearly 40 million.
Yeah, yeah. So, you know, and our comptroller's not with us tonight because he's been working on the budget for the last few weeks, and he didn't really need to be here, but as we discussed, he says, you know, you're being fiscally conservative, you're doing the right thing, and yet you get penalized anyway. So we're hurting, I think we're really bruised because we don't think we should be doing this, but it is what it is, so we'll deal
You
with it.
gotta pay the bill.
Exactly. And it always goes downhill. So it lands on the town, and, but we're up to the task. But, you know, it's difficult with the state mandates, you know, the pension costs are through the roof, the medical's through the roof, and then something like this just makes it more difficult. But, we'll get through it. So,
So
Yes.
now, we don't pay all these, it's all the people that work the polls.
right.
The county actually pays them now. But
Well, they charge us.
But they charge us.
But they
They
charge us.
yes.
They
Now-
pay, but we pay.
We still, just so, I assume we still pay the firehouses?
No.
We don't,
I don't
we
think
used
so.
to give them a
Takes care of all
stipend to use their buildings.
No, I think with the Board of Elections.
The Board of
when they
Elections
took
is
over-
responsible
pay-
for everything.
Yeah, yeah.
County's paying that
When
now?
this switched, it really should have been included in the county real property tax. But at that time, under that administration, it was billed back to all the communities. So the town has been sent a bill.
Yeah.
This year it'd be $62,000. And according to the letter here, it's now saying that next year there won't be a bill for the Board of Elections. So it will be truly a county cost, which is what it should be because they run it.
So we'll hear about that in a year when they decide they don't want to pay for the polling
There's always
sites
that
anymore.
possibility. I think what killed me is we had,
They should have left it with the town clerk. It ran for
it
years.
ran much better. I used to be the voting machine custodian, and we had, oh my goodness, we probably had 30 machines. And they were all very well kept. They were all, we'd have the factory come down and they refurbish them. We had great machines. And then just one day, the county came down and took them all away. And that was it. There is no compensation for them. They took them, and I believe they just junked them.
What else
So,
the state legislature said, they all.
was it the
reverted
state
title over to
legislature?
the county.
So I can't blame the county. But somebody came down and took all our voting machines, and that
Moved
was
them to
it.
Florida for their election.
This is all because of the hanging chads.
Yeah. You're absolutely, all because of a hanging Chad, so. Oh, well, with that, do I have a motion to authorize an agreement with Dutchess County for the payment of election costs?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Well, can I ask?
Oh, sure, I'm sorry, more discussion.
Did our comptroller, pick one full payment or two equal
We
payments?
figured we'd just do the one payment, be done with it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Number 6, to approve a bond reduction for Hopewell Glen Performance Bond for,
This is going to be proposed to be tabled because the planning board meeting of September 18th had to be canceled because of a power failure.
I would like to ask what the Hopewell Glen Performance Bond, for what are they doing, for one section, for the road?
Right,
for what-
they have a
Phase one road?
$3.5 million bond posted for the roads, et cetera. They've installed much of it, so
Okay.
they've applied to the planning board for a reduction.
Okay, so we'll look forward to the planning board getting back to this after their meeting. Okay, very good. Number 7 is to approve a change order for paving for Paline Contracting. Our town engineers review, I gotta tell you, one of the things that we did do that's worked out very well is we put out paving to bid, and Paline, the company that got the bid, has been doing a terrific job. And they were with us last year. They came to finish up some work from last year to finish up this year, and then we gave them some extra work. The extra work being Farview Road, Summit Road, Donovan Drive, Old Shenandoah Road, Jackson Road, Townsend Road, Old Townsend Road, and we had a little project, the Highway Salt Garage, but they've done a terrific job. So, Scott, they've given us we've got a change order,
Yes.
and just
I've
a little
attached a
bit, you
change
reviewed the
order.
change order?
Yeah, basically, they held their price from 2012. A portion of the asphalt, we did pay a minor escalation for the material cost, consistent with how DOT approaches asphalt increases. We have been very satisfied with their work. The original contract had a provision that we could request additional roads to be done, so they did accept that provision in the original contract, and that's how we added these roads, so.
And I was up, I took a look at some of them, they did a very good job. So really, Paline was a very good company to do this work. With that, do I have a motion to approve the change order for paving for Paline Contracting?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. A while back, we were looking at our services. Just general maintenance services, services for electric, services for the heating and the air conditioning, just to be sure that we're getting proper services at a good price. I sat down, we put together a request for proposals. We sent out to 12 firms, and the requests for proposals were for electrical work, plumbing work, and HVAC. So I'm surprised we really didn't receive that many back. I believe we sent out probably around 12 of them. But we did get these came back, and we put them into a little spreadsheet here. And the low bidders were, for plumbing, was John Ossenkopf and Son. For electrical was Black Electric. And for HVAC, again, was John Ossenkopf and Son. Plumbing was $117.50 an hour. Electrical was $105 an hour, and heating and cooling is $350 an hour. So at least we know what we're paying. We got the contractors, and again, I'm surprised there weren't more referrals. What's that?
92.
Heating and air conditioning is 92 is the low, you read the higher.
Oh, I'm sorry, I read the highest one. I thought it was the lowest one. Oh, yeah, you're right. Sorry, that was 92. Oh, that 350, that was that other company. I see them on TV all the time. I couldn't call them. Sorry, thank you very much. I should have put them on the front page. So it's 92 for HVAC for John Ossenkopf and Company. So very good. So do I have a motion to approve the request for proposals for electrical, plumbing, and HVAC?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Thank you for that correction, Tom. Let's see, number 9 this is a resolution from the floor authorizing the rescheduling of certain town board meetings. Due to the upcoming holidays in November and December, as well as the New York State town law requirements with respect to hearings and meetings on the town budget, it is necessary for the town board to adjust these regularly scheduled meetings. It is the desire of the town board to reschedule meetings for the month of October, November, and December as required by law. We propose now the town board shall meet on October 4th at 4 p.m. for the sole purpose of the town clerk delivering the town board a copy of the proposed budget as filed by the town supervisor. Would everybody be okay with that, October 4th at 4 o'clock?
I'm not.
Can you make it a time? Can you make the 3rd?
The 3rd, the 4th is a Thursday, right?
4th is a Thursday.
Yeah, the 3rd would be okay.
Okay. Bill, could you do the 3rd? Peter? Nick, you be okay with the 3rd?
Yeah,
Can you do that? You sure?
yeah. I'll make appropriate.
Okay, because I do feel it's important. I'd like to have the full board here to receive the budget. So if you can, Nick, I'd appreciate
Okay.
that. So then we will schedule that meeting for October 3rd at 4 p.m. for the sole purpose of receiving the budget. Be it further resolved, public hearing on the proposed town budget shall be held on, that the public hearing on the proposed 2013 town budget shall be held on Thursday, November 8th at 7 p.m. And the public hearing shall be followed by a workshop session of the town board. We figured we have to adopt the budget, the public hearing has to be held a certain amount of days, I believe, in November, correct?
Well, it has to be held by the Thursday following Election Day, so that's it.
That's what it was. And that is Thursday, November 8th. So we're going to have a workshop after the public hearing on the town budget. And because of Thanksgiving, we would reschedule for Thursday, November 15th, at which time the town board will take up consideration with respect to the adoption of the 2013 budget. And finally, because of Christmas holiday, we would have a combined workshop and voting meeting on December 13th, 2012. So that would be the meetings for October, November, and December.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Discussion? You look like you have a question.
No, I got a question after that.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And Nick, if you can make it on the 3rd, that would be terrific. And 4 o'clock is still okay.
That's fine.
Okay.
What's the tentative estimate on the budget looking like? Any idea? Mark,
Yeah, we've
got
been
any
going
numbers?
through it last few weeks. Things that's really is challenging, as I would say, was the pension costs have gone up another 10% as mandated by New York State pension costs. That is not a wish list. Pension costs is a bill New York State sends us by law, by New York State Constitution. We have to pay it. That comes in November, late November, early December, going up another 10%. So that, and a few other challenges, I may say, I think we're looking 4%, between 4, try and keep it under 4.5%. That's
Tax rate.
the best we can do.
10%.
Tax rate, right?
Tax rate, yeah.
You're staying in the cap, though, right?
Oh, we're staying within the cap because the cap gives you allowances for that darn pension and other items. So 2% tax cap only pertains to our costs, not the state costs that are levied on us.
2%, I mean 10% over last year or 10% overall?
Over last year. It seemed
Wow.
like last year went up quite a bit too. I mean, every year the New York State pension system says they're going broke, so they send us a bigger and bigger bill. Tom DiNapoli said, and you can expect it going for next year or so, till they finally feel their coffers are full.
So roughly, taxes, we're thinking they're gonna go up 4%, but 2.something% is mandate at the state.
Much of it will. Mark will give us a breakdown on it. He's going to give everybody a budget summary when we hand out the budgets. But we've been working on it, and it's been a tough one. And again, the county thing doesn't help.
Yep.
But we'll get through it. All right. And I think that's it for the resolutions tonight. There are no budget transfers. Public comments on general town issues. Is there anybody in the audience who'd like to speak on any general town issue besides Marty? Yes, Marty. Come on up, Marty. We got your signs out front.
Beg your pardon?
You got your signs out front.
I see that.
I know.
Thank you. First, I want to know why Scott needs an assistant.
Well, right now,
Engineer?
what's that?
I want to know why Scott needs an assistant engineer.
Because right now, we contract with with an outside engineering firm,
Yeah.
and they charge us around $100 an hour for their services. Scott can only do so much. I wish I had 2 or 3 Scotts, but I only got 1. So we do contract out for other services, being plan review, planning board review. They sit with the planning board, they review all the applications for site plan subdivisions and all that. We have a lot of, we're going to be doing a lot of work with the water systems. So instead of, Marty, instead of keep subbing this out to these engineering firms that charge a lot, we feel we'll be able to save the applicants money. And as a matter of fact, with the issue with the water systems, it's good to have somebody in-house working on them also. I think we're going to get a better product, and I think at the end, I think the first few years will break even, and I think in the long run, we'll save money.
And by having an assistant, that will offset the increase, or some of the amount that the increase is?
Yeah, well, part of it will come from the fee schedule we just said tonight that's paid from the escrows for applicants. And there's projects we do in the town, for the town, that come out of the general fund that goes to the engineering budget for the contract engineering firm. And they charge us, like I say, about $100 an hour. So I think it'll be well worth the money.
And one more thing. You are the town supervisor, and I'm sure you would have something to say about it. These signs that are posted on the sides of the road by the planning board or somebody,
Yeah.
that they're written in pencil or whatever,
Can't read them?
how are you going to read them?
We adopted
Do
that law
something
way
about it,
back
would you
in
please?
'06, I think.
Well, I think what the problem is, and I agree with him, is that the signs are printed by the applicants, and they don't
Right.
use like block print that you can really see. And that maybe we have to revisit whether they shouldn't be marked up by someone here and then given that to be.
Good point, good
You
point.
don't want people stopping on the
Yeah.
road to read a sign, you know?
No.
and,
For some of them, it does look like it's pencil.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, it's funny, because I was in the planning office the other day, and an applicant was getting us the signs, and the clerk to the planning board wrote down on a sticky, everything, make sure you put this all on the sign, so
Right, but maybe the
we can
sign
get
should
some kind of a handle on what's going on the sign, the size of the lettering, so it'd make it more,
See what you can do about that,
Yeah.
okay?
I'll see what I can do, Marty.
Let me know what
I'll
happens.
get back to you on that.
Up until a couple of years ago, you didn't even know there
Didn't
was an
even have the
application,
signs.
because there wasn't any sign. Now at least you know it.
Okay,
But
thank you.
Thank you, Marty.
Hi, good evening. My name is Emmanuel. I just have a couple of suggestions that I want to make. I know I spoke to various people about this before. One is, there was a presentation made to the town hall about global warming.
Was it on global warming?
Correct.
When was that?
It was a few months ago. I think there was some people, it was during the day.
Really? What group put that on?
It was basically about the rain,
Rain-
how to collect the rain.
Oh, the rain barrels.
Correct.
Oh, yeah, the rain barrel presentation. yeah.
Right. You were the president at that time. They were
Oh,
asking
yeah, I always
questions.
go to those things. Cornell
Right.
Cooperative put it on. Rain
My,
barrels.
my suggestion to that is, there is 2 sides to that story.
Mm-hmm.
I would like also to bring somebody else to bring the other side of global warming. So the community could have a good understanding of what's going on. Just having one side, I think it's kind of skewed. So if you could keep that in mind.
Okay.
If you need me to bring somebody over, there is people that they do, I could look into that. There was one. The other two, the other thing I wanted to mention is the highway superintendent. There's been some shuffling doing over there. Some employees,
Who's been shuffled?
they've been removed. I know there's been no funds allocated for the hiring of an assistant for the superintendent.
Not that I'm aware of. We have foreman over there. We don't have any assistant to the highway superintendent.
Does he have an assistant?
He has
Is he
foreman.
plan? I thought it was voted on that it was an assistant.
Foreman.
Foreman.
Yeah.
And I believe that there was some employees that were removed from the positions?
No,
Nobody?
not that we're aware of.
That's a different story that I
One
got.
retired last year, 2 years ago.
That's a different story that I got, anyway.
Yeah, no, one retired
My
a couple
concern
years
about
ago.
that is, moving positions around. I think we need the people on the road when there's winter time.
Yeah, we plan to
And
have it staffed.
I know it hasn't cost the town any money yet, but it might be a time when we need to hire more people. So I will look into that. I don't know, I heard that some people have been let go, and that an assistant had been hired.
If they want to retire, we can't stop them.
I'm sorry?
If they want to retire, we can't stop them.
Well, they were offered a buyout, so, which is different than retirement, but.
Really? None I'm aware of.
That's
sure in this
not the
town?
way the story goes?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, but
Okay.
I just want to make sure that that wasn't happening,
Okay.
so that later on, it wouldn't cost us more money. The other thing, I missed the presentation that the controller did, where he said that there was a $300,000 tax collected at the county level, I think, surplus, more than last year. And I questioned to him, you know, I asked, what was that for? He didn't know. I mean, that's something that we don't know. But I see that that could be just because gasoline prices have doubled, and we
Well,
collect more taxes.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Mark made a presentation
A while
saying
back.
that we collected an extra $300,000 more than last year in taxes.
In sales taxes.
Correct.
Yeah, the year before, the sales taxes were like one.
Well, my
Last
clarification
year's
to that
price
was,
was 1.6, yep.
right, my clarification, could it be that gasoline prices were up?
Could be
Could be.
gasoline prices.
Because I see all around, shops are closing down. I'm a business owner, there's a couple of people in the area over here. Maybe Nick could testify
I
to
don't know
that.
where the sales tax
Business is
come
down.
from.
But anyway, to present something, it's nice, but we gotta give them the facts. I mean, when I asked Mark, you know, could it be that the taxes were doubled? Which probably my assertion is because of that. So I
Okay,
just wanted to clarify that. I wasn't here that night, so I couldn't.
Okay.
The other thing is, there was a thing on the website. I know I spoke to Carol this morning, and I spoke to John about the planning. There is a planning, there's a name for it.
Master plan.
Okay, it has disappeared from the website.
Okay,
That's a very important document. I've asked politely a few times,
okay.
and still nobody is putting it on.
Do we have it digital?
I believe Rick
Did
has
we
it
have it?
digital,
Okay.
and Rick, I asked him again after,
Yeah.
when he had left,
No, I
and he
think
said, I
I-
thought I'd put it back on, so
Right.
I don't know,
No,
I can't post
well, you
that.
probably weren't here, maybe, when I opened the meeting, I explained we've been having problems with our website and the vendor that does our website.
Right.
A lot of problems.
I would appreciate if that goes back on. It's important. People could go on and see what's going
Well,
on.
absolutely.
And
I think
it's
it's
a piece of
also probably
document
in
that
the library, if anybody wants to stop, where they could always get a copy to look at.
I didn't know they had it there, but anyway, I was
Okay.
looking at the website. This was
Sure.
back maybe 5, 6 months that it's been gone,
Okay.
so I would appreciate it if we put it back
Okay.
on. Thank you.
If
I
we
asked
have
Rick
it,
again,
all
I
right.
can ask
I'll
him.
ask Rick tomorrow. It's just, yep, absolutely. As long as we have it digital, once we get things squared away with the website, we'll certainly have the master plan put on. Okay. Anybody else in the audience like to speak on general town issues? Okay, there being none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carried.